Hello everyone. So I want us to do a complete analysis on pound USD where I am going to combine a number of strategies or even the few points that we are going to use. So number one, we are going to use pure price action, that basically doing the analysis, which is price action. Number two, we are going to use AMT strategy. Okay. Then number three, we are going to use the profile volume. So most of the time, the profile volume is used to visualize the AMT in our strategy. So my name is Mike. Feel free to comment or even to ask a question. I'm the founder at TradeEdge Forex Hub. It's located in Kitengela. So I want us to start from the higher time frame. I like doing that is the top-down analysis, mostly when it comes to pure price action. And there is something that I want you to notice just from this point, from this angle of view. Okay, so from this angle of view, you are able to identify the kind of faces that this pair is making. This is AUD USD. Not sorry, this is pound USD. And I love AUD USD, but today I'm doing analysis on pound USD, being on 2nd of July 2025. So don't be confused on that. So I want you to identify these faces. So we had one push from that point, giving us a new high. We had a retracement, then another push, giving us the second high. We had a retracement, and then we have seen a third wave or a third swing, giving us another high. Okay, so if you talk about the highs that we have this as the first one. Okay, so we have this as the first one. And then we also have, let me just copy this one. Then I can have control V. So we have this as the second one. We have this one. We also have this one. Okay, so I want you to follow this pole pole too. So analysis itakagi haraka so that you can identify the major swings. Okay, so we had this low, and then so this is where we had a good demand giving us a new high. And then we had a retracement that gave us a higher low. Then from this higher low, we had another strong rally to give us another new high. Then we had a retracement giving us another higher low. And from there, we have seen a new high. Now, of course, when it comes to the market structure, you will expect the market to give us another higher low so that we can continue to the upside. Okay, so why would I be expecting the retracement to be from this point? Because anyway, the market can still continue to the upside and form a retracement from somewhere else. So why should we be expecting a retracement from this point? So I need to go back to the historic data and identify, do we have a zone from this left side that will give us maybe this retracement? So let me go to a weekly time frame so that we can see these major zones not so squeezed. Yeah, and I'm able to see what really happened here. Okay, so the price was able to get back all the way up to this point, and we can clearly see after these buys that we had here, we had a strong sell. So this was buys of around 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. So a whole month we had buys in this area, but from this point, this price, we had a strong rally to the downside. Everything was reversed, and it's the same case. So tumefikia hapo. Okay, it tried to push slightly to the upside, but even if I go on the upper side, the only thing that is on the upper side is this rejection. So meaning that area. Okay, so let me expand so that you can see it clear now. I hope you can see. So the only difference from this price and this price is weeks. And basically they show us a strong supply momentum at that area. So it means even if the price came in this area, we didn't expect it to be a breakout, but we expected the price is getting inside the supply zone. And that's why we have seen a rejection. So anywhere inside this zone, it's basically a supply. That is on a weekly time frame. So that is what is giving us that confidence that after this swing, okay, this swing and this swing, then we have some confidence that from this point, we might now see that retracement from the supply that we had here initially. So that is why I'll be expecting from the price action some sells on pound USD. So that is the reason I'm expecting. Now we go to the next point. up to which point do I expect this supply to get to? Okay, somebody might use Fibonacci. I don't want to use Fibonacci at the moment, but in that case, now I'll go slightly to a lower time frame, because most of us, we are swing traders and sometimes scalpers. So you're not really holding your trades for long. It's either for a few hours or even a day. So I want to work on my target, or I want to identify my target from this momentum that we had here, this bullish momentum that we had here. So I want to know which will be the first target. Of course, I know it might push slightly down, but I want to identify my first target from this bullish momentum. And that is where we bring the AMT strategy. Okay, so tushamalizana na the price action. Okay, the price action has given us the supply areas and the demand areas and the market structures. But now with the AMT strategy, I want to identify a certain zone. I want to see now the behavior of the buyers and the sellers. And as I said, I'm going to use the volume profile to be able to visualize the AMT. So allow me to go to 1 hour time frame. And from the 1 hour time frame, I want to add this volume profile from this point, because this is the point that we had strong buyers pushing the market all the way up to where we are. And now I want us to identify something. So let me first delete this one, where it's coming from, so that we can have a clean chart. I like clean charts. So let me delete this one so that we can have a clean chart. We also know this arrow ilikuwa ya kazi gani, so we are good to go. So the only thing that I want us to identify is level of imbalances. Because now when it comes to AMT strategy, you're talking about the balance areas and the imbalance areas. Now AMT basically refers to these levels as the value areas, the fair value areas. When you talk of a fair value area, it's an area where buyers and sellers were comfortable to exchange orders or even to execute trades. And we know for a normal market, there must be buyers and sellers. So this, when we talk of this range, from this point to this point, this is the area where we had the fairest, the most fair values. Okay, so at this point we had the most fair value, because we can see most of the transactions during this rally happened at this point. This is where we had the most activity. But from there we can also see some activity somewhere. There was also a very good activity from this point, and this is the activity that gave us this rally. Okay, so it means even if you look for sales, this might be your first target, because after you take sales, you might expect these buyers to try and push that market to the upside. Okay, from there we have other nodes to the downside here. So that is the argument when it comes to the AMT. That is just a portion of it, that these are the guys who gave us this strong rally. Okay, most of the activity happened here. So at this point, we didn't have a lot of orders happening. So that is why we had low activity. And most of the time when the price is dropping or going back in these areas of low activity, due to the low activity that is here, market tends to rally. So we might see a strong rally from this point all the way up to this point. But for me, I'm interested in this area. Okay, why am I interested in this area? So this point, at least, as much as there was low activity, but we can see there were both buyers and sellers. I'm interested in these areas because I'm going to bring in a concept of the fair value area that is now used by the SMC traders. Now, I need you to understand here, there is a difference between the fair value area from the AMT strategy, and there is a fair value gap from the SMC strategy. Okay, so when it comes to the SMC strategy, they consider fair value gaps, and for me, I'm going to identify that fair value gap in this way. So I want you to identify what happened here. I want you to see these numbers. That is why I'm trying to zoom. So you can see from this point, we had only buyers. This was a very imbalanced market. So let me expand it so that you can see clearly. So this was an imbalanced, okay? This was an imbalanced area because we are only having buyers. But when it comes to sales, there was zero, meaning there was no activity on sellers. So that is what is giving me a fair value gap at this point. there is a gap at this point, there is an imbalance at this point. And also when it comes to as an SMC strategy, you might consider this as a fair value gap. Remember, we consider 3 candlesticks. Okay. And then we consider the lowest price of the third one and the highest price of the first one. And we have that gap. So for me, that gap is also confirmed by lack of sellers at this range. So there is a very high possibility for me, there is a very high probability that this price is going, that this market is going to retrace all the way up to this point. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to say, or what I will say, is that from this point to this point, we are going to have TP1, and then from this point, we are going to have a TP2 at this area. Then from there, I can relax and wait and see the market, if the market is going to go to the downside, or we are going first to have a retracement and then a continuation. Remember, the reason as to why we are looking from sales on that area is due to a higher picture that we have, that we are supposed to form another higher low somewhere due to the supply that is here. And then once we have narrowed down, we have been able to identify a fair value gap at this point. But we said once you take sales, let this be your first target, okay, due to this activity that was here. Then from that point, we might continue. The moment now we get a continuation, a confirmation, we target this area because this is the main target for me due to this fair value gap that was here, okay, which is confirmed by only buyers in this market, no sellers from this point, which gives us an imbalance in this market. So anyway, that is just one of the approach in this market. So once you use these approaches, they give you a very clear picture on the market, what is doing. And I would advise you follow the same approach, the same strategy. Price action. First, we have started with price action, identified the major swings and all and all that. We have also added a AMT strategy, the second one, where we have used volume profile or even the profile volume to be able to visualize the AMT and interpret it. And then from there, you just have patience and you execute your trades. So if you have any query, you can always DM. My number will be on the description, or you can inbox, or even you can comment, and I'll be able to give a feedback. You have a nice time, guys. Thank you.